song for our next guest. Welcome back to Emotional Mojo. Now, we've heard the motto all our lives, beauty is only skin deep, but that might be a tough pill to swallow for most models, except our next guest. Susan Miner was an international supermodel, gracing the covers of Vogue, Elle, Marie Claire, Self, New Woman, Bazaar, that's just to name a few. But through her work showing off her outer beauty, she discovered the beauty inside everyone and became a psychology professor and counselor to help others find their own. And she joins us now to talk about beauty from the inside out. Susan, thank you so much for being here.
Well, thank you.
I feel overwhelmed by all these women.
I know. I know.
It's like every one of them has some sort of red on today.
I know.
You didn't get the memo, Patrick.
I didn't.
Sorry.
But it's such an interesting story, though. We need to talk about that. How do you go from model, a transition, to psychology?
Well, I was always working on myself, and I wanted to make myself feel better. So that's really how I started. I started off as a bit of a hot mess, and as I got better and better.
Hot and mess, or just hot mess?
A hot mess.
Hot mess.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a term all the
As I got
kids are
better,
using
yes.
now, Patrick.
But there's a sort of a different idea when I say hot. Anyway.
But I'm curious, did you have like a turning point, like a pivotal moment where you're thinking, this is not enough, being a model, I need to do something for others? I mean, what happened?
Well, my favorite thing always to do was help, but I had a moment where I had young people starting to come to me. Even when I was about 25, I had younger people asking me questions, and I figured, you know what, I really need to know what I'm doing at this point to be giving advice. And that's when I decided
So your
to go
natural
to
persona was you attracted people for help.
Always.
That needed your help and
Always.
advice.
Even like in 6th grade, if a girl got her period and she didn't know what it was, all the girls ran and got me.
Run to you to help?
Yes.
Did you do that at home too with your parents? Were you sort of raising them?
We could say that.
Okay.
We could say that.
Sorry.
Get right at the question, yeah.
Well, I think it's interesting because I too went through the same thing. It was modeling and the runway and fashion, and all of a sudden, girls were coming saying, "Well, what do I do about, body image? What do I do about this?"
Mm-hmm.
And
it's a
I
much
was a
bigger
hot
problem.
mess too. And we have that thing in common. But how do you continue to keep it going? Because I know you have the Inside Out program. Is that what it is?
Yes, beauty from the inside out.
Beauty from the inside out.
So how do I keep it going for myself?
For
or
yourself
my clients?
and for others.
Well, I mean, I'm always studying, and anything I ask of my clients, I'm asking of myself first.
Yeah.
So I practice what I preach, and I have a very close connection with particularly young models that I counsel. So I'll speak to them once up to 3 times a week, depending
Help
on
them
where
to
they are.
overcome self-loathing?
Yes. You'd be surprised. My goodness,
Patrick,
these
why
girls,
are
you
you
look at them, they're gorgeous.
Yeah.
I see them on Skype, I'm like, oh my God, they're just fabulous looking, but they're so broken often. But I think young girls are in general. They have such low self-esteem, and I think even being in the modeling world, it just magnifies that.
Sure.
It does, absolutely.
So what's the primary philosophy? What's your
Absolutely.
primary message when you say beauty from inside out?
Well, it's reducing your anxiety, increasing your inner peace, finding that place inside of you where everything's okay.
So
That
the ultimate
quiet
message
place.
is everything's okay.
Yeah, and that your peace comes from you and you can actually work on it. I always say everything's like going to the gym, and there's exercises for everything. You can ground yourself, you can clear yourself, you can pray, you can meditate, and all these things actually make you feel better inside.
Now, do you also work with them, because obviously modeling doesn't lend itself to a long career for most people. Do you also work with them for life after modeling?
Well, what I encourage them always to do is prepare themselves for where they see themselves afterwards. So I'll encourage the models to read if they like music. Well, just expand your knowledge of that. And they may not become a music producer, but in the meantime, they've been reading something they're interested in. They're more interesting, and they might be preparing themselves for their next career.
Susan, how do you shift the values of your clients, of these ladies who are models, who've been already programmed and already believe that their only value, their only self-worth is their beauty? How do you change that and flip it?
Well, the first thing was I had to do it myself. So I need to sit with them as a representation of someone who's done that, I hope. And the second thing is just to be a mirror for them constantly, encourage them in their other aspects, and really always point out ways in which they're growing, ways in which they're intelligent, ways in which they're interesting, creative.
Their values and their inner qualities. I call it SUV. Special, unique, and valuable. What makes you special, unique, and valuable?
Susan, thank you so much for
Oh,
joining
well,
us.
this
And
is
we're going